Live? Hello, and welcome back to the AP Lazer Workshop. Thank you for your patience. We've been playing with some new integrations with our system, and they actually, we worked out one bug, and right at the last second, it decided to surface itself. And so, today we're going to be engraving glass. We're going to keep going through. We might not be able to have some screen pop-ups, but we don't need those today. We're going to go ahead and feature some glass and some glass methods and some products we don't have but are available through other sources for doing glass. Last week, if you were with us last week, I promised you a discount code, and a little bit late, but we got the discount code. So last week we featured photo engraving on granite using LightBurn. Mm-hmm. And I have, for the rest of the month of June, actually, we're going to run 10% off of granite items through the web store. So if you go to our web store at aplazer.com/shop, or just go to aplazer.com and click on store, it'll take you to our shop. And then the promo code for the granite is WSGranite-0623. I'm going to put that into our chat right here. So there is that chat, or there's that code. Put it right there in the chat section. You can review this at any time. And again, a lot of these promo codes are going to be exclusive to our AP Lazer, mm-hmm. or to our AP Lazer workshops.
Right.
So if you haven't already, click and like and subscribe our channel. There is a link down there in the description of this that will take you right to the subscription option there. But also make sure you click that bell and make sure you're following. Some of you might automatically follow. Some of you might need to click the follow, so you'll get alerts when we actually go live. There will be we're also going to have another promo code coming up a little bit. There's going to be a promo code for acrylic on our web store. I'll let you know what that's going to be for our blank acrylic sheets. It's a pretty good deal, and we're going to have another 10% off of that. I'll give you that code here in just a little bit. Featuring today, we have some simple glass work, and I say simple, but it's really, Alicia is a wizard and she makes it look simple. It's as simple as your mind can be creative. But Alicia, can you tell me a little bit about what we did, what we have today? So.
Yeah. So Aaron came to me with the idea. He's got an event he's part of coming up. Someone's special day coming up, and we wanted to make some custom glasses for him. Just as a little treat for him, and. So he came to me with the idea of the bride was just looking to have their names basically for the wedding crew put on these glasses. But I wanted to have a little more fun with it. You definitely could, just have the names written across, and it's going to come out nice. It's going to look swell. But, adding a little flair is actually a lot easier than you'd think it'd be, especially if you're using the program that I use more prominently, LightBurn. It's super easy to, customize things to different events, such as these weddings like this, and make, these glasses look beautiful in just like super simple steps. I can show kind of a quick run through of what we went through there. It's really super simple to do.
Alicia, while you pull that mm-hmm. up, I should note that these glasses, you have to be very careful with these glasses because while we can probably take these and we could probably sell a couple of them. I've seen a couple of them. We've seen a couple of them sell for $20, $30, $40, upwards of $100 for a pair. But if I did a set of 16 or 17, you guys know what kind of market the wedding industry bears. So there's a lot of margin out to be made, but we have to be very careful with these glasses because these glasses, I got at Dollar Tree. And if you don't know, Dollar Tree recently raised their prices from $1 to $1.25 a piece. So we're losing an extra quarter there on our margin, but all jokes aside, you know, I'm $25 into glasses, but if I wanted to sell these to a bride and groom to be, it's easy. Even if I just did it for $100, that's a big margin. But we know that market is very flexible on what they're doing. Now, I'm actually not charging for these glasses because a little inside secret here, they're friends of mine, but I'm also including it with, I'm also a DJ. I do, you know, wiki as my wife says, DJ. I know I look old, but I still have a really good time. So I'm going to be DJing the wedding, and I just kind of throw it in as part of something I do for them, and they really appreciate that. But anyways, so there's a lot of margin in glassware in general, especially if you go to find lesser sources. But Alicia was going to show us here on LightBurn.
Yeah, if we go back to my computer screen here, like I said, you know, you could very easily, LightBurn has the option where you can just very easily, you know, write out a name, just write my name here, you know, and we could make that, you know, go through, make it whatever font you want, super, super easy. And then there you go. There's technically, you know, a laser ready file, and you'd still have that customization, you know, on the glasses, which is, you know, really, really cool. But, you know, we can have more fun than that, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, it's if the person that you're doing these for has like a certain theme that they're going to have at their wedding or their event, you know, you can coordinate with them a little bit. I had a little bit of a free reign with this one, which was really fun, but I already had a design on my laptop that worked kind of perfectly for this. So I'm going to go ahead and use the import feature up at the top here. Just under open here, we're going to import, and I'm going to import that image that I had ready. It should be this guy right here. I'm going to go ahead and open and let that load in, and as you see, this is kind of, we're going to turn this into custom for this specific event. So we're going to use the super awesome trace image feature in LightBurn, and again, you know, you can do this with your own designs. You know, if you have permission to use designs online from different artists, you can go ahead and do that as well. I will say, you know, when you do the trace and image and the Google searching and all that, you know, just make sure that you're finding something that is, you are allowed to use and sell. You know, you don't ever want to steal anybody's artwork, and you don't ever want to get into that kind of boat as well.
Well, I would like to clarify what she's saying is if you're going to be marketing your products, and you can't use protected images, you know, if I'm doing something for a personal friend, I'm not selling them the logo or the artwork that's going on it. So if they come to me and say they want something owned by Disney on it, I'm okay to put something owned by Disney on it, but because I'm not selling Disney,
Exactly,
I'm not selling,
exactly.
I'm not profiting off of Disney. I'm just selling the service, and they are coming to me with what they want to put on there. So.
Exactly. It all depends on, you know, what you're doing this for. If it's something you're going to put on an online shop, you definitely want to make sure that you have some ownership, some sort of ownership of that artwork before throwing it out to the world. But
having said that, if you market something with something owned by Disney on it and it's online, expect a message, expect a letter, expect a phone call, something. So
it's gonna get written. I know there are ways people get around that and all that, but just, you don't want to play that game. You really don't. But anyway, so we have this image on here. I know I've gone through this a couple times before, but I always like to kind of reiterate how amazing this feature is. If I kind of zoom in here, you can see these little pink lines around the image. That is what is going to be physically being traced within LightBurn, and as you can see, it's pretty accurate, but you can get, you know, much cleaner things. Like obviously you can see on the flower we're not getting anything traced there, and we want to get that. So down at the bottom here we've got all kinds of fun sliders, and we're just going to play with the very bottom, the threshold here, and we're just going to slide that over, and as you can see, it's taking up more and more of that image, which is what we want to see. And you just kind of get it to a place that you're comfortable with. If you see, if I go all the way over, that's obviously going to be too much. So you just kind of back it up until you're comfortable with where you want it. Cool. I think this looks about good. You know, if this were sheer black instead of this gray, you get a little bit better of a trace on there, which, you know, you can go back and edit as needed. in whatever design software you're using. But this looks pretty good. I'm going to go with that. You just go ahead down here, hit that OK button. I'm going to click on that original image. We don't need that anymore. I can get rid of it. But bam, there you see, we have that traced image. Perfect. Now obviously this was made for something different, so we're going to want to go ahead and edit this specifically for the event. The first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and ungroup everything so we can get rid of the parts that we don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to get rid of all this up here. This bottom part, this is what I want, just this guy right here. So I'm going to go ahead and group that all together in one piece, and then we can start customizing for the event. So I'm just going to put my name as a placeholder. Here, you know, obviously customize as needed, and again, that's just with this text feature over here. Super simple and easy to use. I'll put down here, let's do bridesmaid, if I spelled that right. Perfect. And then you can just kind of move this around wherever you'd like until you find something that is comfortable for you. Kind of align things, you know, however you like it. I think that looks great. And if you're going in like we did with these, we just kind of kept this bottom part here all as one thing. We wanted to keep bridesmaid. We were doing several of the bridesmaids, so I kind of grouped all that together. And then I was able to go through, you know, and edit the names as needed. So you can just keep that same layout and very easily change, you know, customize it for whoever it's going to be for.
So did we just go start to finish on this inside of LightBurn?
In LightBurn.
Okay.
That's
So
how amazing this program is, I'm telling you. It makes things so much easier. It takes bits and pieces of different design software, kind of simplifies them a little bit. You know, you can't get too complex, but you can get a lot done just within this one program.
Well, and then we're going to send it right from that same software to the Lazer.
Yep.
And we're networked. If you haven't seen that video, that's a few weeks ago. Look it up. Network your machine. It's easy. We're going to do it right from right here. No cables running across, right? But I said it before. If you haven't invested in LightBurn yet, it is well worth the investment. You're going to thank yourself later. I promise you. It's a minor investment for a big return. Mm-hmm. It'll save you time and effort, and it just makes life easier in general. Can you kind of show how we would set up the settings in that file?
Yeah.
And then we'll save that file, and then maybe
we can actually pull up a clip of this as well.
Oh, okay.
So we ran all these beforehand just so we'd have them ready. So we can pull up a clip of it running here as I kind of go through the idea of the setup, getting it onto the Rotary just to show, you know, how it goes. And you can kind of see, I believe it should be real-time footage. Oh, well, that's okay. We'll cut back to my computer screen and I'll go through the settings for how to set it up. As we said, we've got a bunch of new exciting things set up for these live streams. We just kind of work through it a little bit, but we'll get there. So
growing pains. Hey, here I'd say that by the middle of July,
it's going to be
by the middle
amazing.
of July, it's going to be next level, and everybody, we're going to have to take our viewers from 20 to 220 to 2200. So thank you all who are staying with us and joining us. I know that some of it's, I haven't seen Frank yet today, but I know that we're going to try to bring you as much informational content and that's going to help you. Yeah, but we want to make sure we do it the right way each time as well. So.
And of course, if I'm running, I know I'd like to speed through things, especially when we have a late start going like we did today. But, you know, feel free to ask me to slow down in the chat. I will see it in there, and I'll be able to, you know, if you have any questions, you need me to back up a couple steps, feel free, just let me know. I'm doing this for you guys, so, you know, just pop it in there, let us know. I am going to cut back to the screen just super quick here so we can run through those settings. First, since we want to do this on the Rotary, I'm going to take everything, well, first I'm going to make sure that we are sized correctly. And I think the sweet spot that we found for these specific glasses was 1.85 for the width here, which is we're gonna change this to a 90. We're gonna flip it here, because when it's on the rotary, it's gonna be that sideways there. So we just wanna make sure everything is going the right direction. If I had it, you know, if I had it back like this, it's gonna go across the side of the cup. So it's not gonna look super great. That's not what we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna make it that, just rotate it 90 degrees so it looks weird in the program, but it's gonna be perfect for on the machine. And so I have that set perfectly the way I want it to here. And we can go ahead and up in LightBurn here, we've got two little icons. There's a little print and cut, and we have the rotary setup. That is what we want to start with. And you can see this is kind of a weird screen to look at. I don't know if this helps or not. I think it makes it look a little weird. So I'm going to change it back down to that smaller size. There we go. So this is the rotary setup screen. And as you can see, we have two different options depending on what rotary you're using in your machine. There's the chuck settings and there's the roller settings. We can go over the chuck settings on another day. Today we're using the roller. So we can kind of go through that a little bit. There are different settings for different types of rotaries.
Yes, I was going to mention that, Alicia. It's very important that your settings might not match what our settings are for our rotary settings. Make sure you reference what was provided with your machine, because we do have several different styles of truck rotaries and cradle rotaries and different types of cradle rotaries and chuck rotaries. So make sure you're following the settings. And if you can't seem to find the reference to what your settings are supposed to be, you can always contact our world-class 24/7 tech support team at 844-364-8211. That's 844-364-8211. And they can help you with that if you have trouble getting that set up.
Absolutely. That is a good thing to point out as well. I believe the one that we're using today, Aaron, you mentioned this is the one that we made ourselves, correct?
Yes, this is one that we've manufactured and produced ourselves.
So these settings are the ones that we would find within, like, if you purchased from us, right?
Well, not always true.
Okay. See, that's why I'm here.
Depending on which machine you got, there's there's Rotoboss, there's some other variants of rotary devices that came with our machine or was an add-on to our machine. So make sure you're referencing whichever one is appropriate for the specific rotary that you have.
All right. So with the one that we are using today, which is the one we manufactured, we want to make sure the steps per rotation up here, it's usually set to like 300 by default, I think, for LightBurn. That's obviously a little far off from where we want it to be, which is going to be that 6400. So you need to change that from whatever the stock settings are in LightBurn to whatever is on that, like Aaron said, is on that sheet that you were provided. And if you're having trouble finding that, just feel free to reach out to the support team here and we can help you guide you through that a little bit. Now the roller diameter, I believe that should be in the same place, on that provided sheet there. For this specific one, it was the 1.77. Well, 1.78, I believe, and then it just kind of changed it there for me. Should be perfect. The other very, very important thing that we want to mention, on the side of your machine, there is a little switch. There's a flat work setting and there's a rotary setting. You want to make sure that you're set on the rotary setting so that the machine knows, oh, we're going to go into the rotary mode. I've made the mistake of not getting that set up beforehand, and it gets very confusing. You're going to feel like your machine is broken or you've done something horribly wrong, but really you just need to make sure that the machine knows which mode it needs to be in, and you want to make sure that your rotary is hooked up correctly in the side of the machine as well. And in LightBurn, that last thing we want to note is you want to make sure you have enable rotary right here. You just switch that little guy on. It needs to be switched on, and your file needs to be sent to the machine with enable rotary on to make sure that it knows it's going to run in the rotary mode. Otherwise, even if you have it set on the rotary on the machine, if you don't set it within LightBurn or whatever laser software you're using. It could be Artie Works as well. But if you don't have that set within the software, it's going to make things like stretched out. It's going to look very, very wrong. So to make sure that you've got everything proportional, you just got to kind of follow those steps to make sure everything is set for the machine to run the files correctly. So once that's good, you go ahead and hit OK. Then that rotary mode is enabled. You'll see up at the top here within LightBurn, you get a little green light. That's how you know you're good to go. The other thing that you want to note, make sure your settings are correct as always. Right now, this isn't right. We have it set to line, which means that the machine is going to cut. We don't want to cut on any glass. It's not going to do much, if anything. So make sure you're set to the fill mode so that you are engraving. I have special settings for the different colors down here, which you can also, if different colors mean different things to you. For me, whenever I go on LightBurn, black is my cutting settings, and the blue down here, that's how I know I'm engraving. That's just, do whatever you want. If the colors mean nothing to you, it doesn't matter. You can change it every time. But for me, I always know that blue is going to be set to that fill mode, and then I can change my speed and power settings appropriately. The sweet spot that we found for these glasses after doing some, different testing was a speed of 20 and a power of 32.5. So that 0.5 really, really did make a difference.
It does. I said this before, and I've talked about it with different materials. When you're testing and stuff, you're going to run into a point where you're going to find that 32 is not enough and 33 is too much. And I don't want you to feel like you're married to a solid number on your power or speed, for that matter. We can go in fractions of, the speed runs in inches per second, so we can go in fractions per fractions of feet per second, or inches per second. So if I've done it just to play around, sometimes I'll run an 18.75 speed and 22.567 power. Why? Because I can, just to be fun. But no, sometimes it can be that granular on a setting that matters. But a lot of that is also dependent upon the material and masking that material. Specifically when we're talking about glass, we need to have some kind of agent that it serves as a masking. When we're engraving into glass, there is what I'm going to call unspent energy. So if you ever watch it as it's engraving, you're going to see there's some flashing happening there. And that flashing is causing a burst or a explosion on the glass. And that unspent energy can cause distortions in the edge of the engraving and make sure the edge is not as clean as you want it to be. I prefer to use Dawn, but that's also because up until recently, when I spoke to the great Bonnie Gilbert, who will be at LazerCon, we're going to talk about that in a second, she introduced me, or informed me of a product called Blazer Orange masking tape for glass. She said it's just amazing. I'm going to share a link right here to the you can find it on Johnson Plastics. You can also find it on JDS Industries. So if you have a JDS Industries account, you can certainly find it on there. You can also find it generally on JP Plus, Johnson Plastics. There's a link for it. I'll let you go ahead and research where your source is and compare your pricing and make your decisions based on whatever you prefer to do there, whether it's loyalty or price you're looking for.
If you cut to my screen here real quick too, I just got it, the general image of it up here, just so we can reference that while Aaron's speaking as well.
So when you look at it, you're going to get a little sticker shock, okay? And that's okay, because once you realize that it's available in either a 6 by 100 foot roll or 12 inch by 100 foot roll, that's a lot, okay? So it's going to last you a long time. So don't let the initial sticker shock push you off completely, because it's going to go a long way, about 100 foot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyways, but I prefer Dawn, okay? And she held it up a minute ago. There is a lot of different methods out there. You'll hear people saying, oh, Dawn dish soap and baking soda and mix this and this and this and this and this. I've done it all, and with the exception of the Blazer Orange, which if Bonnie tells me it's the best, she's right. But besides that, if I'm using like a liquid applicator or something like that, Dawn dish soap, specifically Dawn dish soap, you can't use the cheap off-brand stuff because it gels up and causes its own set of challenges. But the Dawn just goes on smoothly and it absorbs everything great, and it really, for me, it's always been a better engraving. So Dawn dish soap is great for doing that.
If we could cut back to me real quick, I mean, I can honestly show you how super easy it is to get that application on there. I have a blank glass coaster here, nothing on it. And Aaron showed me yesterday, you can see it might be hard to see on the camera there, but I have fingerprinted this to heck and back. It's smudged. So if you go over it with paper towel and isopropyl,
yes,
and clean that off, you're going to have a nice even surface, which I'm not sure where that is right now, but in theory, that's, if you get that nice clean surface, you're getting the purest engraving that you can. And then just going over that with one of these guys here is what we found works best for getting that Dawn on there. You get it for 10 cents at the dollar store, big pack of them for $1, lots of places. But I like to just, you can put it directly onto the glass or just kind of put a little drop on there. Aaron likes to do a little bit more than I do, but I just kind of, put that little droplet on there, and then you're just smudging that, getting a nice try to get it as even as you can, but covering wherever that laser is going to hit, and it's going to cause a what is the exact reaction that causes it to get a little crispy? It's a masking
reaction, really. It's absorbing the unspent energy that's coming from the laser, which I should add too, that staring at the reaction on that, it's not exactly healthy. It's kind of like staring at a light bulb. You can do it, but you shouldn't.
Probably never. That's why we have the nice, you close the top for a reason when you run your machine. Just in general, you be safe when you're running things, While it's not going to put any fumes off that are, crazy or anything, just always have that top down. But you send that over, get everything set up super quickly and nicely. Make sure you have that rotary setting on, and you're good to go. It's really, really super easy and quick to do. If we got the video working, yay! See, we're figuring things out. But you can see how quickly and easily, I think it took 3 minutes, maybe less, to run that glass on there. And you get a beautiful result. And
well, yeah, it took us in a couple days. I say a couple days, but it was like an hour and a half each day. We did 17 glasses.
Yeah.
So 3, maybe 4 hours of work. We gotta go do dishes, so maybe 4 hours and 15 minutes of work. You can make easily $100 or more off of doing something like this. And then, more importantly, is you're helping provide priceless memories to people who are involved in this wedding. They're going to take this glass home, and they're going to tell their friends, yeah, that was laser engraved. I think sometimes if we've owned the laser for a long time, we forget how exciting it is to hear the term laser engraved or laser.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt the first time you started getting into this AP laser, but when I heard the term laser engraved, I was like, what more can I do? I mean, can I put it on a shark's head? That's a movie. Anyways, so make sure that when you're talking to your customers that you are as excited about it as you were the first time you heard it, because they're also excited about it. And you want to foster those emotions and or harness those emotions. And really remember that. While we can obviously support ourselves and make a business out of this, we're doing it by creating priceless memories for somebody. And it's really hard to put a dollar value on anything. I'm giving these glasses away. I could have easily told them, and they would have easily paid me $150, $200 for doing it.
Right.
And they're just blown away because they were just expecting names on it, just names. And we're like, well, we can put a flower on there. We can put a tuxedo on there. We can put a little design with a date on there, and it makes everything that much more part of the memory. So.
And like I said, I mean, I showed you guys exactly in LightBurn how easy and how quickly, you've got your design prepped. This was something from something completely different, and you just throw it in there. Use that image trace feature. It makes everything so quick and easy. And then you have, it's custom just for them. They're going to love it so much more than just, we got rid of this and then there's a name on a glass, That's super cool, but let's make it even cooler, So it really is, the possibilities really are endless with machines like this, And it does bring a lot of that special value to an item that otherwise is just going to sit and collect dust on a shelf somewhere,
I also want to talk about something else with the glass that we haven't really touched on is the ability, if we're not doing a round glass, say we're doing like a flat pane, window pane or something like that, or a mirror, the back of a mirror, we can also mirror the image.
Exactly.
So it gives a different effect if you're going to do something that's to be flat onto a glass table or something. You can do the underside of that, you reverse it, and then it just gives another layer of effect. And almost all of these applications, with the exception of having to mask it, is applicable to acrylic as well.
Yes.
So we're working with clear items. Most of our acrylics are clear or a color variant of clear or solid if it's a opaque one. But we don't have really any glass items on our web store, but I did secure for us a web store discount also for for our blank sheets. It's just our big sheets of our acrylic. 10% off of blank sheets. Again, through the month of June, so it's valid up until July, and the code for that is coming soon.
While he pops that in there, I just want to say, like, this coaster that I have here that I was able to make, you're fine. This coaster that I was able to make here, it's a little hard to see, but this can be done on acrylic. It's not that thick. There's just little plastic pegs on here, which you don't even really need. But this could have just as easily been a nice piece of clear acrylic that you engraved on, and it's gonna, it's gonna work exactly the same.
Yes.
So, a lot of the things that we do for the glass, I don't know that I'd put a cover of soap before going on acrylic. I've never tried that, but I don't think it's going to work quite the same.
No, I haven't had the need to on acrylic, because acrylic we're actually removing the material.
Right.
And
so, I mean, even then, that's one step you don't have to do if you're doing the acrylic. And with the acrylic, I do like, as Aaron said, if you reverse that image and do it on the back of the piece, it's gonna look really nice and clean on the front of that. So.
Is Good Vibes Only? Is that in the back or is that?
Yeah. That I can grab that super quick.
Yeah, I'll grab it for you.
One of the things that we have recently started to offer in our store as well is mirrored acrylic. So it's gonna act like a mirror on the front there, as Aaron is showing on his camera here. If we can pull it up, that is done. That is done with that mirrored acrylic. So you're reverse engraving on the back of that acrylic, and then you get that nice, that image, but you also still have a usable mirror. And, those are super fun, and you can, the acrylic doesn't cost that much, that size piece of acrylic, and you can sell that for quite a bit. There's also some fun you can do on the back with adding lights and all that. We can do that in another kind of segment there. But as you can see, that is the back of the piece. It's just you're reversing your image and engraving directly on the back. So there's a lot you can do with these plastics. That's, it's going to give you this insanely nice finished look in the end. It's, so there's a lot you can do. And I will say, if you're able to join us for the fun festivities at LazerCon this year, I happy to go over any
Yes.
of this stuff while I'm there. I'm going to have my own little setup, my own little machine where you can come talk to me, ask your questions. I'll run some special stuff for you, and it's going to be a blast.
Yes. Real quick, we're going to talk about a little bit more about LazerCon. If you haven't signed up already for LazerCon,
You're missing out.
you're missing out.
You're missing out.
It's going to be a great time. Who needs an excuse to go to Vegas? Nobody. Who needs an excuse not to go to Vegas when you can write it off for business reasons? You better have a good excuse for not being there. It's easier to, just come to LazerCon. We're going to have some great sessions. We're going to have Matt Buxton, Tong Lee, Bill and Bonnie Gilbert, a couple more speakers. There's going to be some samples going on. There's going to be a lot of demonstrations, a lot of stuff that's going to help you growing your business with your laser and expanding into different parts of business with your laser and really diversifying. And more importantly, just helping you grow with your laser business while also providing priceless memories to your customers, to our customers. And we really look forward to spending time with you and having a great time with you there. Thank you again for your patience at the beginning of this. Next week, we're going to be talking about some laser maintenance. We're going to talk about maintaining your cooling system. Now, before you think, oh, I've owned my laser for years, I know how to manage my cooling system, I'm going to beg you to please chime in next week for some very important maintenance information for your cooling system. Because it's in my opinion that the cooling system is probably the most important part of the system. So I'm going to cover a few things on not just how to check the levels, but also how to do a flush on it, which should be done periodically, and then how to clean it if you need to clean it, and what things you should and should not put in your cooling system, including the products we offer to kind of take care of all that.
It's always good to know, what not to do as well. So, tune in for that. I think we're about wrapped up.
And we might have a couple other things with that tech corner that we'll be covering in that session if we have time.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to be doing those every month anyways. I promise you, if you're a laser owner, it might be as important as learning how to use the laser, because you want to protect it for a long time. So I look forward to seeing you all at LazerCon. I look forward to seeing you guys next week on our workshop. And thank you, Alicia. Great job today.
I try.
And again, please look up those codes and find us at the web store. And let me mention, if you go to something on the web store and it says out of stock initially, click on it and make sure that other sizes aren't necessarily available, because right now we're working through something with our web store host. Has a feature that lets you put out of stock, but right now it's showing if one size is out of stock, on the main product it's saying out of stock when it shouldn't yet. So go ahead, and if it says out of stock, click on it. It might be available in another size.
I will say you can always reach out as well if you have any questions on that. Things are a little bit confusing as things get restructured, but we are working on it. So, we're always just a phone call away. Our team is always a phone call away if you need that. But I think with that, we're good for the week.
See you guys next time.
Bye.